everybody, and welcome back to Sooner Girls Sports Pod. This week is episode 53, and I have a fantastic guest with our former volleyball player. She actually just graduated. She played this last season, Sydney Thompson, and she is just the sweetest girl, and I cannot wait for you to hear my interview with her. But before we get there this week, let's take a look at the Sooner headlines for the week. And again, I do not have an injury segment with my friend Dr. Jason Linen this week, as we do not have any injuries to discuss. So that is fantastic news. I have been keeping an eye on all of the sports that are getting started. Of course, basketball that's continuing, and gymnastics is starting up. The diamond sports will be starting soon as well. So I will continue to keep an eye on the injury front for those. And we will circle back and touch base with Dr. Linen as needed for our injury segment as the spring goes along. But first up, I want to give a shout out and a huge thank you to my new sponsors of the show for 2026, Marvin's Place Art Gallery in Ardmore, Oklahoma, a fine art gallery and listening room located in the Depot District in downtown Ardmore. Come by and check out their artwork on Friday nights. Visit their listening room. It's an acoustic, intimate, unplugged venue. They host singer and songwriters on Friday evenings from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Relax with a glass of wine or a craft beer and enjoy some wonderful music. Again, that's on Friday evenings at Marvin's Place in downtown Ardmore, and tell them that I sent you. And also on your way, check out Therapy to Go in Ardmore. It is the funnest place in town to drive through for a drink, and you don't even have to get out of your car. They have a large variety of spirits as well as fountain drinks and snacks, and they will deliver it right to your window. Go tell Melissa, Allison, and the crew that Sooner Girl Sports Pod sent you for a special gift while you're there. Okay, a quick congratulations to Sam Bradford, Rod Choate, who is also a former football player for OU, and our women's gymnastics head coach, KJ Kindler, for being announced that they will be inducted to the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame later this spring. So shout out on that amazing accomplishment. Another huge announcement coming out of Norman just a couple of days ago. We hired a new tight ends coach. Last week, it was reported that Joe John Finley had been relieved of his coaching duties. That had not been officially announced from OU, and there was actually, to my knowledge, never an official statement released regarding that situation, which leads me to think that maybe Joe John could be being kept on the coaching staff in a different capacity, perhaps as an offensive analyst or something. But our new tight ends coach for Oklahoma football, that is none other than Hall of Fame former Dallas Cowboy Jason Witten. And if you know anything about the Cowboys or football, I'm sure that you've heard his name. I am so excited about this hire. Just a tremendous person, I think, to lead our tight end room as we continue to replenish those athletes for next season. Just very, very excited about that. Can you imagine telling Ben Arbuckle just a few years ago that pretty soon he was going to be the boss of both Jason Witten and DeMarco Murray? How incredible that a former Sooner great, DeMarco Murray, also a former Cowboy, and Jason Witten. They did play together for the Cowboys, will be reunited in Norman on the coaching staff, and it's just a truly incredible thing to think about, and I'm super excited to have them in Norman. Also, speaking of our new coach, Jason Witten, his son, Cooper Witten, is a 5-star recruit who is now a junior in high school. We gave him his first offer nearly 2 years ago as a 5-star linebacker prospect. But now that his dad is joining the Oklahoma staff, I think that's a fantastic sign that we have a great chance to snag him on the signing day that will be coming up at the end of 2026. He is a 2027 defensive back at Liberty Christian School in DFW area. He had one heck of a football camp with the Sooners a couple of summers ago. So he's a really polished athlete, continued to grow over the last year or so. Just super excited for that possibility as well. Also, we have gotten several tight ends in the portal. I will run through our portal news here shortly, but Rocky Beers is one of our newest tight end commits from Colorado State. He is the brother of our women's basketball player, Reagan Beers, and when he heard the news that his new coach was going to be none other than Jason Witten, he said, quote, "Maybe he can teach me to run with my helmet off and truck some dudes." And I just really think that no greater statement can be used about Jason Witten. There was a video circulating after the announcement came out of him doing just that, playing for the Cowboys, again, as one of the greatest tight ends in the game, future Hall of Famer for sure, catching the ball, getting trucked himself on 3 different angles, catching the ball, helmet comes off, and he just continues to keep going and get that yardage after catch. Just exciting to think about what he can do with those athletes in Norman next season. On to a few more things regarding our former Sooners in the NFL. Unfortunately, Jalen and the Eagles lost in their wild card game against the 49ers this past weekend. 19-23 loss at home. Just a huge disappointing end to their season after coming out on top last season with their Super Bowl win. So super sad to hear that for Jalen. Also, Lane Johnson plays for the Eagles and Grant Calcaterra. I hate that their season ended that way, but we have Trent Williams. Braden Willis is on the practice squad for the San Francisco 49ers. And as the wildcard games are finishing up tonight, as I'm recording this on Monday, January the 12th, divisional games will be played this coming weekend. Conference games will be the following weekend, and the Super Bowl is on Sunday, February the 8th. There are rumors of Kyler Murray being traded from the Arizona Cardinals, especially after they fired their head coach, Jonathan Gannon, just last week, but I have not heard any definite details on if that is actually happening. There have been some rumbles of him possibly ending up with the Jets or the Raiders. They are the teams that have one of the first draft picks in the upcoming draft. As of now, there are still some rumblings about him being traded to a different team, but we will wait and see how that pans out. Baker Mayfield, that poor guy, has had a different offensive coordinator every season in the NFL, and now his OC from this past season has been let go as well. He has had sometimes 2 offensive coordinators a season during his time in the NFL, so it's just super hard for him to have consistency and training when he's constantly getting a new OC. But fingers crossed for a great hire for the Bucs and Baker going into the new season. So shout out to former Sooner Ramondre Stevenson, who plays for the New England Patriots, who are continuing in their postseason endeavors. He was last week announced as the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. And shout out also to former Sooner Orlando Brown Jr. for the Bengals. He is this year's winner of the Media Good Guy Award, voted on by the beat writers who cover the team on a daily basis in Cincinnati. Orlando is all class all the time. They say he goes out of his way to help the media do its job, so it is very well deserved. Shout out to Orlando for that accomplishment. Also, a shout out to Creed Humphrey of the Chiefs and Trent Williams, again, of the 49ers. Creed Humphrey is first team on the AP All-Pro team, and Trent Williams is second team. Also, a few of our Sooner guys who are receiving senior honors: the East-West Shrine Bowl with Marvin Jones Jr. and the Hula Bowl was this past Saturday, and Demonic Williams was able to play in that. And for the NFL draft, we've had a couple more announce their intentions for that. Derek Simmons, he also American Bowl, which is the nation's top senior talent come together to represent their programs and honor those who serve in Orlando. That will take place next month. Also, on to our portal news. We've had quite a few going out. I hope that I haven't missed any names. In addition to those I talked about last week, of course, but just in this past week, we've had going out wide receiver Zion Kearney, wide receiver Giovanni Gibson, wide receiver Avon Carrion, linebacker Samuel Masigo, wide receiver Zion Reagans, and safety Jaden Hardy. Also, to be noted, as I'm recording this again on Monday, January the 12th, PJ Adebore entered the transfer portal for roughly 2 minutes this morning before his name was then withdrawn. I know that the Sooners had been working with him on a deal to try to keep him, so I'm assuming it had something to do with that. But as of now, he is not in the portal and he is expected to stay, but that activity did take place this morning. Also, we did get some great news this past weekend when our Lou Groza Award winner, Tate Sandell, our kicker, announced that he is coming back next season. So we are definitely glad to have him back. A couple of OU players and where they have committed to: Marcus Strong, Clemson; Caden Helms, Minnesota; Jacob Sexton, Oklahoma State; Isaiah Archer-Dent and Kendall Dobie, both to Mississippi State; Zion Reagans, Mississippi State; Luke Bucklinklow, Arizona State. Devon Jordan, Baylor. Carson Kent is headed to Pitt. Logan Howland, Virginia Tech. Jaden Gibson, South Carolina. And the Hawkins brothers, Michael and Malik, to West Virginia. Jake Taylor, Iowa State. Javante Barnes, Kentucky. And the one I will probably miss one of the most for sure is Kobe McKenzie, who is headed to Northwestern in Chicago. There are several who are in the portal that haven't decided yet where they are going, but that is the list as of about noon today. But coming in, we've got quite the list. Again, I mentioned our Colorado State tight end, Rocky Beers. He is committed. UTSA edge transfer, Kenny Azawalu. He had 17 tackles, 9 solos, 6 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks as a freshman last season. Oregon transfer, cornerback Dakota Fields, also committed to OU, 6'2", 198. He will have 3 years of eligibility remaining. Arkansas O-line, Marion Harris. Colorado State running back Lloyd Avant. Texas transfer. This is a big one. Wide receiver Parker Livingstone. He is the former roommate of their quarterback Arch Manning. Michigan transfer linebacker Cole Sullivan. Washington State transfer Mackenzie Alene. He is being reunited with Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer in Norman. He's a wide receiver. Georgia Tech Peyton Joseph, he is O-line. So lots of great additions coming into Norman for 2027, and I know that they're still looking to fill several more spots before the portal closes. Now, when the portal closes, that just means that no more people can come in. So just because the portal closes doesn't mean we can't still get people out of it. So you can still get players from the portal and they can still withdraw themselves and choose to stay where they currently are after the portal closes. So there's still that going on as well. Okay, on to our basketball team. It's been a rough hoops week in Oklahoma. Our final last Wednesday night with our men, Mississippi State 72, Oklahoma 53. And just note, it was tied 27 at halftime. We shot 31% field goals, 3 of 23 points, 16 of 25, only 64%. Xavier Brown had 4 assists. The rest of the team had 0. Big yikes there. Just very disappointing in a game that was pretty much very much winnable at halftime. We played at Texas A&M this past Saturday afternoon. Nigel Pack did hit a career 2,000 points, so shout out to him for that. But our best attributes the first half of the season was how well we took care of the ball, and the Sooners led the SEC in fewest turnovers. But these last 2 games on the road had featured some pretty unforgivable sloppiness that you just cannot have. We only had 3 field goals in the last 10 minutes. Another road loss against Texas A&M, 83-76. We now fall to 11 for a second straight loss. Not getting either one of those road games is a pretty disappointing thing, and unfortunately just an all too familiar feeling. But next up is Florida on Tuesday night back in Norman, and then on Saturday against Bama. So as you're listening to this, the Florida game will have happened the previous evening. And then the Alabama game is happening this coming Saturday, the 17th. I do want to give a quick update to some of our NBA guys, former Sooners. Trae Young was traded from the Atlanta Hawks, who signed him from the draft. He leaves the Hawks as the all-time franchise leader in assists with 4,837 and the leader in 3-point field goals at 1,295. Also to be noted, former Sooner Austin Reeves with the Lakers is still out with an injury, and he will be out for at least several more weeks. On to our women's basketball. Only one Power 5 player is doing all of this. 13.5 points per game, 8.5 rebounds per game, 4 assists per game, and that is Sahara Williams. So congratulations to her for that. These notes were made before our 2 losses, which I will discuss here shortly, but we were playing at a very nationally elite level. Number 1 in field goal defense, number 1 in rebounds per game, number 1 in pace, number 2 in scoring offense, number 3 in points per game, number 4 in defensive rating and assists per game, and number 5 in margin of victory, and number 8 in blocks. Unfortunately, we did not display on the road this past week. I do want to give a quick shout out to our SEC Freshman of the Week from last week, 5 times now, for Elia Chavez. So shout out to her for that. Okay, so last Thursday night, we did suffer a 69-74 loss to Ole Miss at home. An early hole just proved too much to dig out of. Verhulst was just off all night. My poor sweet Peyton. Chavez had 26 points. Beers had 15. Just a struggle there at home for the girls. They were hoping to rebound this past Sunday at number 6 Kentucky on the road. But the final from Lexington was 63-57. Our second loss in a row against a ranked team. Our season low 11%, only 2 of 19 from the 3-point line. We turned the ball over 18 times while also having 9 more personal fouls than Kentucky. Chavez led the team in scoring with 18 points on 7 of 23 shooting. Beers and Verhulst finished close behind with 14 and 13 points respectively. Chavez continues to be Oklahoma's primary offensive playmaker, leading the team in scoring and assists. We dropped to number 13 in the latest poll. And next up for our women, Sunday the 18th, LSU and Kim Mulkey come to the Lloyd Noble Center. So if you're able to get out and support our girls this coming weekend, please do that. And Kim Mulkey bound to be entertaining. It is stick season in Oklahoma as our women started out their gymnastics season on the road at the Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Squad this past weekend. And our quad was against LSU, UCLA, and Utah. And basically almost like a rematch and perhaps a foretelling of the national championship. Lily Peterson got us off to start the very first event of the season, 9.825 on vault. First career vault for Lizzie Blessy. She went 9.8 in the number 2 spot. Kinsey Estep went a 9.9. Hannah Shrebley has been using her hashtag Revenge26 for her revenge tour after she is coming back this season from her torn Achilles and missing all of last season. Her first collegiate bar routine was a beauty at 9.9. Ella Murphy got a beautiful stick on her first career routine on bars for 9.925. Ella Murphy had a beautiful, strong routine on the beam. Another stuck dismount from that freshman at 9.925. Addison Fata was in the running for the all-around winner. Her scores were high all day as well. After the tiebreaker at the end of the meet with LSU, I did not know how they broke a tiebreaker. I'm not sure how they do it in the postseason, but at least in the regular season, they take all of the scores, even the dropped ones, because you have 6 people compete on each event. They drop the lowest score. So when there's a tie, they take all of those scores and add them all together, even the drop scores, and that's how they determined a winner. They did say that we ended up winning by a point and a half, basically 1.425 as the winner of that quad for the 3rd year in a row over LSU. Utah's Avery Neff got the very first 10 of the season on her vault. It was beautiful, so shout out to her. So next up for our women, our next home meet is on the 23rd, Georgia at home. So be sure and get out to support our number 2 Sooners. Florida is currently ranked number 1. OU is number 2. A great start to the season for our girls. Our men, just a reminder, they are opening up their season on the road this coming Saturday, the 17th, at the Rocky Mountain Open. And their home opener at McCaslin Fieldhouse is on February 1st against Greenville. Our baseball squad announced their Diamond Dinner on Friday, January the 30th at 6:30 at the Sam Noble Museum. The guest speaker is former Sooner Cade Cavalli. He currently plays for the Chicago Cubs. So it's $150 a seat to get out and support the team, get a sneak peek of the season. So if you're interested in that, you can check it out on Soonersports.com. Softball, quick shout out to Tiara Jennings. She's up for the World Games Athlete of the Year after a dominant 2025 campaign. The voting begins today as I'm recording this on Monday the 12th. You can go to usasoftball.com/TWG Jennings and you can give her a vote. Our wrestling guys are currently sitting at number 15 as an overall team ranking. And next up for them is Air Force at home. The 16th, Bedlam was in Stillwater this past weekend, and I did attend with my husband, who is a poke. Unfortunately, it was not pleasant. It was the first Bedlam shutout since 1982. Record Bedlam crowd of 12,549. It was like an orange cult in there. I'm not quite sure how I survived, to be honest. It was packed in Gallagher, but I've been to that venue a lot. I have only seen it that full a couple of times. What an atmosphere for Oklahoma State, and they have quite the talent on their wrestling roster. Number 5, Cowboy Wrestling defeated Oklahoma 37-0 in the annual duel. But I do want to give a shout out to my sweet DJ Parker. I was able to meet him after the meet. I got a photo with him. I did post it on my social media. So go check that out. He's such a great guy. I enjoyed chatting with him. We had Several of our guys that got pinned got beat pretty handily, but DJ, and we did have one other, and I do apologize, I don't remember who it was. I am still learning about wrestling, so there was a lot of confusion and learning curve for me as I was watching the meet this past weekend. But DJ did very well against his opponent, a number 5, number 6 matchup there with his opponent from Oklahoma State, and he did very, very well. He actually awarded them the least amount of points in his duel. So shout out to my guy, DJ. Looking forward to seeing them. I know they have a home series again on January 30th and the 31st, Friday, Saturday, back to back. I will be there on Saturday, the 31st, that evening. I'm hitting basketball that afternoon and then hitting wrestling that evening. But best of luck to our guys as they host Air Force at home on Friday night. Also, volleyball, our Pro Sooners started their league this past weekend. Lydia Martin and Amani Bush play for the Indy Ignite. They actually played the brand new Dallas professional volleyball team, and they did get the win. Also, Alexis Shelton plays for the Grand Rapid Rise. So you may want to check out social media and give those girls a follow and follow their pro careers. It's just a very exciting thing. That's something that they're able to do to continue their love in playing volleyball. Also, our tennis, the men's home opener is this Friday, the 16th, against Arizona. Number 6 ranked women host the ITA kickoff weekend on January 23rd through 26th in Norman. They're hosting Stanford, Yale, and Memphis. I'm planning to get out that Friday, so I would love to see you there. Full schedules are out now for both our men's and women's tennis. So again, free admission. So get out and support those guys and gals. Track and field, they are at home this coming Friday, the 16th for the Owen Hewitt Invitational. It starts at 3 p.m. at the indoor track facility. They have an indoor meet on the 23rd. I'm planning to stop by that as well when I'm in town to watch tennis and hopefully gymnastics if the timing works out. Our men's hockey club team, Bedlam, is in Tulsa at the BOK Center on February 28th. That's a Saturday. And I do know that Bedlam hockey is in the afternoon and there is a Tulsa Oilers game that evening. So it would be a great opportunity to have a fun day of hockey. Okay, my Sooner MVP of the week. I know they're coming off 2 tough losses against ranked opponents, but I want to give a shout out to our SEC freshman of the week for 5 times this season so far, Elia Chavez. Just a pretty impressive feat. I know that she will continue and prove to be a valuable asset to our team. Okay, our Sooner fun fact of the week. OU women's basketball player Courtney Paris was the first in NCAA history, male or female, to pile up more than 2,500 points, 1,000 rebounds in her career. I also want to remind you, I am celebrating 1 year of Sooner Girl Sports Pod. I actually started my podcast about this time last year, as this is episode 53. I'm celebrating, and I would love for you to come and join me at Coach's Corner in Norman on Thursday, February the 5th. From 6 to 8 p.m., we will have cheers and cake cutting at 6:30, but it's come and go. But do feel free to come and have a meal and enjoy meeting my friends, Terry and Corey. Corey Wilson is one of the co-owners. He's a former football player for OU. Super friendly. Love those people so much. Can't wait to celebrate with them. And again, I would love to see you there. My info for the party is pinned at the top of the Sooner Girl Sports Pod Facebook page. You can also find it at the very top of my link tree. My link tree is where you can find all of the information. Everything is linked for my socials, podcast, advertising info, how to support the show, where to get your merch, all the things. Again, my link tree, link in bio. I am at Sooner Girl Pod on every platform, and that link is in my bio there. You can find it there. If you have any questions or any trouble finding anything, please feel free to shoot me a message again at Sooner Girl Pod on all platforms, or shoot me an email at soonergirlsportspod@gmail.com. Especially if you're out of town or you can't make the event, I would love to have you sign my guest book. You can again shoot me that email, soonergirlsportspod@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. Okay, just a quick rundown again. Coming up in 2026, I have former softball standout Nicole Mendez, former Sooner Hooper and NFL sideline reporter Stacey Dales, former Sooner Hooper Taylor Robertson, soccer player Allie Lassinelli. I have a Crimson Chronicles episode coming up with Tierney Smith and Noble McIntyre. Also, baseball player Brendan Brock, softball player Riley Zakay, tennis player Julia Garcia Ruiz, and OU Palm member Riley. I also just recorded this past week with former softball standout and one of our favorite pitchers, Kelly Maxwell, and our track and field discus power couple Maggie and Ralford Mullings. So you won't want to miss any of those episodes. Make sure you're following me on all social media, download and share, follow me on your favorite podcast app so you do not miss any of these fantastic interviews. Okay, on to my segment with the amazing, sweet Sydney Thompson. Sydney is a sports business major with a minor in Spanish and plans to pursue her MBA. She has interned with both ESPN and Nike. She loves creating content and enjoys fishing and hanging out with her friends. You can find her on Instagram at Sydney Thompson with 3 N's, and TikTok, Sydney Thompson, and the O's in her name are 0. But I will link all of that in the show notes, and of course, we'll be tagging her on social media throughout the week. Sydney did not grow up an OU fan. It's actually funny. Her parents went to Tulsa. Her brother played basketball at Oklahoma State and now plays for the Oklahoma City Blue. And so their house was low-key split. But when she visited OU, she fell in love with the culture, the people, and the support. She said it felt like home to her, and she never wanted to leave. We talk about that in our conversation. We also talk about her favorite Sooner memory of beating Texas her junior year, which was one of my first matches to watch. So it was really fun reliving that one with her. So I hope you guys enjoy this interview with sweet Sydney Thompson. And I have another great one coming up next week, Crimson Chronicles episode with my friend Jason Grauholtz from Arizona. I met him when I was in Phoenix watching the OU game with the OU Club of Arizona, which he is a part of. And just a fun guy. He's literally my twin. We have a great time doing a football recap and talking a little bit about some of the transfer portal action and hires and things like that going forward, of course. But then we do a little reflection on the football season. So you won't want to miss next week as well. So I hope you guys enjoy my conversation with Sydney Thompson. And I will see you next Wednesday where we talk sports.
It's crazy. Time has flown by for sure.
I bet it really has. So have you been at OU the whole time?
All 4 years.
I thought so, but I wanted to make sure. Oh my gosh. Yes. I bet it really has flown by for you for sure. So what are your plans after graduation?
Right now I'm thinking I'm going to get a master's.
Okay.
So I'll just be here for another probably year and a half.
Keep going.
Yeah, so I'll probably get an MBA, and then after that I'm going to try to find a job in the sports industry, probably more like higher level, like working for like leagues or like Big 12, SEC. Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's exciting. Well, I always tell people I think it's a good choice. If you want to get your master's, you might as well stay and do it because it's too hard to go back.
Right. That's what everybody's been telling me. So I've been taking all the advice and I'm like, okay, I think this is the best route to go.
For sure. And now you'll still be around at least next season to cheer on the volleyball team.
Oh, absolutely. I already told Coach I had a meeting with him and I was like, hey, I'll be around. So if you guys need help, like serving balls or like doing whatever. So awesome. I'm sure I'll definitely be around. I'm excited though.
I love it. That's so cool. So tell me a little bit, how did you get started playing volleyball and what led you to play at OU?
Yeah. Okay. So I actually grew up playing basketball. Okay. I grew up in a basketball family. My brother, he's like McDonald's All-American. Both of my dad played basketball in college. So I just grew up like playing basketball. And then in, I would say it was maybe sometime in middle school, I was like, maybe I should try out volleyball. I think a lot of people had compared me to my brother just like growing up all the way through high school with basketball. Yeah. I was like, maybe I need something on my own. So then I decided to start volleyball. And then from there, it honestly just took off. I stopped playing basketball, I think my freshman year of high school, and just did like volleyball the rest of the way through, which is honestly a little bit nerve-wracking because in volleyball in general, people are starting so young. Yes, and so I didn't start until I was about like 14. And yeah, I just like really had the love for it. And then once I started like getting a little bit of recruitment and some traction there, I knew I didn't want to go too far from home. Yeah. And so it was really between TU, ORU, and OU. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I went on my visit to OU. At that time, it was under Lindsay Walton. And the girls were amazing. The environment of OU was amazing. And I really pride myself on surrounding myself with great people and people who hold themselves to a high standard, which you can see it, and that's evident in every program. here at OU. And so yeah, that's where like that's basically what happened. I started off basketball, ended up playing volleyball, and then found a great home here in Norman. So
I
yeah.
love that. I love that. Well, I do hear that pretty frequently, what you said about that consistency across all the programs, and that seems to definitely be the case. And I love to hear that for sure. So tell me a little bit about some of your favorite memories playing at OU. Since you have been there for 4 years, you've gone through, like you mentioned, a coaching change and all that that entails, and then the transformation into the SEC and all that
Yes.
that entails. So
Yeah.
you've been through a lot
Yeah.
in your 4 years. So anything you want to talk about with the, the coaching change, the move to the SEC, and then just some of your favorite memories in general. I know last year you guys went to the NCAA tournament, and just, yeah, some of those highlights about those things for sure.
Yeah, I mean, all of it has honestly been so amazing. And I think the landscape of college athletics has changed so much with the transfer portal
It
and
has.
all the switching of just the conferences and everything that has changed. But I've loved it all. My previous coaching staff, they were great. They were amazing people. I'm so glad they brought me in. And then for Aaron and his team to just come in and take it to where it is. We hadn't been to the NCAA tournament in quite some time.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it was honestly amazing. Both coaching staffs were great, and all the different teams, especially with the transfer portal, I feel like I've had a completely different team every
Oh, I
single,
bet so. I bet
which
so.
is yeah, and obviously it's rare now for people to stay like 4 years at one university.
Yes, yes.
But I've honestly just embraced it all. I've gotten to meet so many new people,
Mm-hmm.
experienced two different conferences, which are both in their own respective rights very, very like the top of the top. And
Yes.
so it's been really fun. I think one of my favorite moments had to be at Texas
Mm-hmm.
when we played at Texas. I don't even know when the last time before that we'd beat Texas, but we
Uh-huh.
were at Texas, which
Uh-huh.
it's just always such a fun environment. I think growing up playing basketball, I'm like used to like trash talking and my brother like bullying me, all of these things. And so being in those environments, it honestly feels like home. Like there are people
Yeah,
screaming at you, yelling your name while you're about to serve. They're like trash talking you. And so it was it was so much fun
that's awesome.
meeting them at their place. But I think
Yes.
as I like reflect on my 4 years, it's not even the wins and losses that I like remember the most, but it's like the little moments in between, the bus rides, the team
Yeah.
meals, and all of those things with all of my teammates that I would
Yeah.
cherish the most, like looking back on my career here.
Well, you mentioned that Texas match, and it's really funny. I'm fairly new to the volleyball scene. I had never been to a volleyball game until the one earlier this season where I met you, and I never watched a volleyball game or really even. I mean, I followed OU volleyball, of course.
Yeah.
Anything OU I followed, but I never really knew a lot about the game or what was going on or anything. But this past summer on the SEC network, each program got their own day and they reshowed highlights from the
Okay.
previous season. Okay, so they showed the match where you guys were at Texas last season where you guys won, and I'm like, okay, so I just started watching, turned it on SEC network and whatever sporting event was on, and I think that you guys, it was like pretty early in the day that they were reshowing that volleyball match, and I watched it and I was like, holy crap, this is exciting. And that was really the first time that I had felt drawn into a volleyball match. Or I mean, I've watched the Olympics, of course, and beach volleyball and all that, but it was different. It was so different. And of course, it's real easy to watch OU, and it's also really fun to watch OU when they're beating Texas.
Absolutely, always.
So yeah, I can only imagine. And yeah, Austin is one of those places I try to avoid. I don't think I would do very well there. It's pretty hostile, I know, and their fans are passionate, which is great, but I don't think I would do well there. I get a little too passionate with my Sooners. But yeah, just watching that match back and seeing you guys beat them in Austin, and I was just like, I have got to go and see y'all. And then, of course, with what I'm doing and trying to highlight females, of course, and then just athletes in general and all the sports that get often overlooked. It's been a lot of fun because I've learned a lot about things that I probably wouldn't have given a second thought going forward. And volleyball kind of being one of those. Like, it's just so much fun. And that game that I came to where I met you, I had two friends with me, and they were like, yeah, we've never been to volleyball. We don't know much about it. We want to go. And they had so much fun, like so much.
So
Yes, they started following the team and, following throughout the season. And of course, we watched the SEC tournament, and it's just been really cool. So just know that you guys, you draw somebody in, it's really easy to stay. That's for sure. You guys are making a difference. So
I'm glad you guys had so much fun, and I think
we
a lot of
did.
times there aren't a lot of people who, I don't know, would go to a volleyball game or
Yeah,
really know much about it. But it honestly is really fun whenever you come and you get into the environment. So
very
I
much.
appreciate you guys for coming, and I do think a lot of people would
Absolutely.
end up having so much fun if they
Yes.
for a game really fast. So
That's
yeah.
what I tell people. It's such a big difference. And I kind of feel the same way about soccer as well. I just went to my first soccer match last season, and soccer's a little slower. It's not as fast
Mhm.
paced as volleyball. But again, once you're there in person and you just kind of become invested in the team and the players and the atmosphere, and it's so much fun. And so yeah, I hate that I was only able to make that one game in person, but I watched several. So I know you're going to miss playing, obviously, now that you're getting ready to graduate. But what's something that sticks out to you that is going to be what you miss the most?
I think I'm just gonna miss my teammates the
Yeah,
most.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think now I'm gonna be a part of teams, but
yeah.
in a different way, like on like I
Mm-hmm.
guess the corporate side.
Uh huh.
But again, it just goes back to like we were together 24/7.
Yes.
Wake up, we'd lift, we'd practice, we'd travel, we'd be roommates. And so I think that's definitely something that I'm gonna miss. And especially after college, I mean everybody kind of goes their own ways.
Yeah.
People start getting married, having families, getting jobs, and so it's not as easy to like just be together.
For sure.
And I think also something I'll miss is just um I think practice.
Yeah.
And now starting to pick up some new hobby. I feel like I have so much free time on my hands. But
I
it's
bet
like,
so.
yeah, but I would be like working out like 2 or 3 times a day and I'm like, wait, now do I have to get a gym membership or like
Right?
navigating that because I would work out basically every day and it was just
Yeah.
a routine and now I've got to like plan my own workouts and things like that. But yeah, I would definitely just miss my teammates, having practice with them, just playing around, being silly with them.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely what I'll miss the most.
I don't blame you. That makes sense. I mean, I hear that a lot too from different athletes. Your sport is your life for so long. And like you said, it's 24/7 between practice and lifting and all the things. And then you're just like,
Yes.
oh, wait, I don't have anything to do now. So I can imagine that you feel that
Yes.
way. So, okay. So, what are some places that you've traveled to play that are some of your favorite atmospheres that you've been in?
Okay. I really enjoyed Austin.
Uh huh.
That's always
Uh huh.
fun. Kentucky,
Okay.
they a great crowd every single time.
That's awesome.
This year, I don't know if it was their swim team or what, but like after the first point, they like stripped and they were like shirtless and like the little speedos the whole time. They had like writing on their chest and they were
That's
like
funny.
heckling us like no other. That was definitely really fun. I'm trying to think where else. In Pitt last year in the
Oh,
NCAA
yeah.
at Pitt, and
Okay.
that was a great crowd as well. So it's so fun. I just love with sports in general, you get the opportunity to go to so many places that
Yes.
go. So I've been to I think I'm like 15 states off from being like gone to all 50 states and
Oh,
most
that's
of that is
cool.
because of volleyball and like the
Yeah.
opportunity it's given me. So yeah, those are some of my favorite places that I've been to.
Well, so how do you think the crowd compares? I mean, like for OU, do you think it's grown over the years? Like you're getting more people to come to the games now?
Absolutely, absolutely. From
Okay,
my
good.
freshman year, I do think consistently we are seeing growth like in the numbers. I do
Good.
think it can kind of like at the beginning it'll be like really hot, it was super packed, and then it kind of like dies
Yes.
off a little bit. So I think Aaron and the staff and just the whole marketing team are just trying to push
Hmm.
like having
Yeah.
more and more people come, and I definitely have seen a difference.
Good.
The crowd does make a difference in those home matches.
Absolutely.
Like we really do feed off the energy that they bring.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think as volleyball continues to grow nationally as well as just in Oklahoma, we'll continue to see more
For
people like
sure.
come to games and support for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Well, the game or the night that I was there, it was fan appreciation night, which just so happened to be the night before OU Texas football, which
Yes.
is not technically an ideal time where most people are going to be in Norman, but it was a great time for them to offer that free admission. And I'm sure that helped get some more people in there. And it was pretty full that night that I was there. And I was glad because, of course, the student section was not. There was not hardly anybody there, which is completely understandable on that end. But for me, it works out great for me to make it up there. And but my point being, I think that was a good opportunity, like you said, for them to take advantage of, hey, let's offer some incentive to try to get people in here because it may be a lower attendance night. And I think it paid off for you guys in the long run. And like you said, and like we talked about, once you get people in there and get them attached to the players and the atmosphere and just the sport in general, it's real hard to not stay like sucked in a little bit. And I think that's good. I think, like my friends that came with me that night, there were two other girls, and they were like, we want to go back. Like, tell me, like, next season, tell me when you can go. And they were asking me, how can I watch their games or where's their schedule? So I sent them the schedule, how you can watch, which thankfully is normally on SEC Network Plus. But anyway, it's just nice that it's accessible and we're able to cheer from a distance. Like you said, I think it's great opportunity that they've taken to try to reel people in and get us hooked, because people like myself that just love sports in general, like I needed anything else to follow and kind of get attached to, but I really did. I was watching you guys in the SEC tournament that Friday, and then round one, and then y'all played the same time as the football game that Saturday, and I was like, what am I going to do? So I just had it on my phone and I kept like glancing down.
Appreciate you staying tuned in.
I was trying to stay tuned in and be positive, but it was hard to be split. But well, anyway, I do appreciate you again coming and talking about all this, because I think it's important to raise awareness, not just for the sport, but just women in general. And like you talked about how the audience has grown over the years since you've been at OU, and women's sports has come a long way in the last handful of years for sure. And I think technology has helped with that, obviously. And I'm very thankful for technology, pros and cons, I guess. But what are some of your favorite things that you've learned, lessons you've learned from just being an athlete, from sports in general, that is going to help carry you into the next chapter of your life?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's like you have to work for the things that you want. I think I've learned just how to have a work ethic, and and just working hard for the things that you want. And I think also having a good attitude no matter what your role is on the team. I've been in a position where I've played a lot, where I played a little, where I played none. And I think my attitude and the way I treated my teammates and the way I showed up every day in practice, all of those things stayed consistent. So I think without sports, that's something maybe I wouldn't have experienced until I got a job or was in a different environment like that. I think also time management, having classes, lifts, study halls, travel, all of that stuff while being in season, it does really teach you how to be proactive when you're speaking to people, like, hey, I'm not going to be here. How can I get this done? All of those, as well as just managing, exams and homework. And so I would say those were definitely the two biggest things that I've learned while being here, is just working for the things that you want, and then being proactive in everything, because once your schedule is like filled up and there's a lot going on, you get chaotic really fast if you can't manage your time.
For sure. Those are good things. And then back to the point where I mentioned just, being a female athlete and just female sports growing over the years. How does it feel, and what do you try to model to girls who look up to you, whether they be volleyball players or just in any sport, just seeing how far female athletes have come, and it keeps progressing forward, and you guys are such great role models, and you have such a platform now.
Right.
That's more accessible than ever before. Just how do you look at that as far as how you try to pass it on to the next generation?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the only person that can limit you is yourself. And so I think going after the things that you want and working hard for those things is super important, and trying not to be, I guess, instead of like a victim mentality where it's like, okay, everything's against me or all of these things. It's like, no, I can do these things. I can work hard and get to the things that I want to get to. I think being from Oklahoma, which isn't like a volleyball state, or wasn't definitely when I was like coming up and during recruiting, wasn't a very highly recruited state.
Right.
There was times where I was like, I don't think I'm gonna make it anywhere. I don't think this is gonna work out for me. The level of play isn't the same as it is in Texas or some of the other states. But yeah, I think the important thing is like you always believe in yourself, and then instead of just dreaming about something, go do it. and
Yeah.
because you will end up somewhere if you just keep working. And so I think that's definitely something I'm glad like my parents instilled in me and that I was be
Mm-hmm.
able to work through it. But like I just love meeting like the little girls like after the games when we do
Yes.
like signatures and they're like, "Oh, like I'm doing this, but I don't know. I'm like I just started volleyball." And I was like, "Hey, I started about 2 years after you, so you can do it. You just keep working hard and you can get genuinely anywhere you go because
Yeah.
like nothing can stop you." You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think as like women's sports continue to evolve, I think there honestly is no ceiling unless like you believe what maybe other people are saying
That's true.
should be ceiling or something like that. So I think
Yeah.
that's something I can want to continue to instill in the youth is just like
Yeah.
keep working, like nothing can stop you.
That's a good lesson for sure. Well, you mentioned, the kids after the meets that stay for autographs and photos, and that's definitely something I always like to see. And I'm one of those, as an adult, I'm like, I don't want to get in the way of these little kids because, they think you guys are superstars, but I'm also fangirling a little bit myself, even though I'm old enough to be your mom. It's really cool. And I've talked about this with so many other people that you guys, as OU athletes, regardless of the sport and regardless of anything, they see you wearing that jersey. And
Absolutely.
they see you on the sideline, on the court, and they know that you represent their favorite team, their favorite school. And whether they see you in public or at a game or on social media or whatever, kids look up to you guys. So that has to be a little overwhelming from time to time, I'm sure, but also what an honor it is to hold that opportunity to be such a role model to them for sure.
Absolutely. I think every time like we would get to the end of games, it'd be time for autographs. It's honestly one of my favorite
Yeah.
moments. I just remember being a little girl and like
Yes.
if they would like throw the ball at me or if I would like have any interaction that I just like loved those so much. And so I think it's just one, I just love meeting new people. I love meeting supporters and
Yeah.
it's just honestly it's so fun for me. I follow so many of them on Instagram after like I talk to
I
them and
love
stuff.
it.
But yeah, I definitely think just wearing Oklahoma across like our jersey not only it's
Mm-hmm.
such an honor, but it's also like if we are the role models, we hold ourselves to this standard. I think it's also important to give that back to the
For
community,
sure.
especially in Oklahoma. So yeah, I just love meeting all the people after the games because they're
I love
supporters.
it.
Like, I'm so grateful that they decided to spend their money and come
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
bring their kids. Yeah,
Yeah, well, I know the night that I was there, there was quite a line of people lined up to see you guys. So that's really cool for sure. And like you said, the kids they're so excited. I mean, they think you guys are superstars for
yeah.
sure. So I love seeing it because it's just really cool. Okay, so tell me a little bit, kind of switching gears a little bit before we wind down. So looking back on this season, of course, I know you guys. We're hoping to make it further than you did, and that's disappointing. But you guys as a program, like you mentioned, has come so far over the last couple of years for sure, in making the tournament last season for the first time in however long, and then you made it to the SEC tournament this year. This past season sticks out to you as some lessons that you guys learned or some things that you gained in knowledge that you think the team will take into the next season.
Mm,
We'll kind of be around a little bit.
yeah, I also around a little. I think definitely if you don't, I guess, like lock in, basically
Mm-hmm.
you can lose to absolutely anybody in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
our team had so much talent and we
Yes.
were completely capable of beating like so many teams, but sometimes there's like a little like switch that needs to be like flipped where it's
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm locked in on my assignments, I'm locked in on everything I need to do to win this game. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that's definitely something that we learned that you can beat anybody, but
Yeah.
in the same like breath, you can lose to anybody if you
So
aren't.
true.
And I do think Aaron and Brian and Mare and
Mm-hmm.
Maddie, they do a great job of recruiting and bringing in good talent, and I only see that growing.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's great. Obviously super grateful to make it to the NCAA tournament last year. I think
Mm-hmm.
it'd been like 8 years or
It's
it
been a
had been
while. Yeah.
yeah, it had been quite a while. Yeah, I think that was probably the main thing. But this team, this group was definitely um a very fun one to play with, and I'm glad I got my last year with this group for sure.
That's awesome. Okay, well let's talk about you for a second. So once you do get your master's, and you mentioned what you might be looking at doing, but tell me a little bit about what is your master's going to be? What kind of job will you hopefully be doing, and what all that will entail?
Yeah, okay. So I'm thinking right now I'm gonna get an MBA,
Mm-hmm.
master's in business, probably be around a year and a half. I
Yeah.
do like to like get school done as like soon as possible.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not doing it early, but if I can take classes in the summer or the winter, like I do those too. So
Yeah.
hopefully I can maybe cut that down a little bit. And then yeah, I definitely want to be involved in sports in any capacity like possible. But I do think I've learned since like sports has consumed so much of my life
Yeah.
that I would like maybe a little bit more, I don't know, like structure like 9 to 5 instead of maybe traveling all the
Yes.
time or, being up late because I have a game or stuff like
That
that. So
makes
I think
sense. Yeah.
that's something I'm looking for as I like go into like the job search. So looking to work for like the Big 12 or the SEC or ACC,
Yeah.
like I'm still definitely involved in sport, but
Mm-hmm.
just at a different capacity more on like the admin and corporation side.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, open to working for the NBA, the NFL, just honestly anywhere that I can,
That'd be fun.
yeah, get in there. So it should.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I don't blame you for wanting a little structure change with your schedule, because like you said, you kind of get used to being on 24/7 so much. You're like, okay, I want some downtime. So I don't blame you there.